Evening once again, my dear traveller. How pleasant to see you. Pardon moi? What brings me to this part of the island? Oh, I simply had some business to attend to inside the naval base here. What kind of business? Ah, I'm afraid that's between myself and the poor souls. I mean, the respectable individuals I had cause to consult. Now I take in our surroundings, dear friend. All these starboard vessels and the crews aboard them give me cause to remember a tale. Here, sit on this cable drum, and I shall tell you the tale I call Sons of the Sea. Being an island community, it is natural that a lot of Sodor's industry relies upon the seas and the ports dotting its coastlines. Daily, large ocean liners disgorge their passengers onto the island, many eagerly wishing to see the famous railways that feature so heavily in the reference books and on the television. As well as people, Sodor often sees imports and exports of various different forms of goods, such as coal, steel, cloth, fish, and other items. In addition to these day-to-day occurrences, there is the vital line of defence provided by the personnel of Royal Naval Dockyard Brendam, an area of dockyards that had just recently undergone renovations. One day, Edward was shunting some trucks and had just stopped to gaze out to sea when he spotted something strange in the water.
Hello, what's this then?
As Edward watched, he saw the periscope of a submarine break the surface of the water and begin to scan the coastline, as if looking for something, before it withdrew back under the water.
Well that's strange. I didn't think there were any submarines in the harbour. Perhaps I should ask Salty. If anyone knows what goes on in the harbour, he does.
Edward found Salty marshalling some trucks underneath Cranky, ready for the crane to load them. Edward whistled as he pulled up next to the Class 03.
Ahoy, Edward! Ye done with them trucks already? That's good. There's a line of vans need shunting in the number 5, ready for Rebecca to pick up.
Alright, Salty, I'll get to those in a minute. But first, there's something I'd like to know.
And what might that be?
Do you know if there are any submarines in port? It's just, I happened to see a periscope poke out of the water while I was looking out to sea just now.
A submarine, you say? No, I can't think of any subs currently in port, not even any naval ones.
Oh, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter. All I did was just take a quick look at the— Good heavens!
Blistering barnacles! That sounded like an explosion!
Sounds like it came from the area I saw on that periscope. Quick, there might have been an accident!
The two engines, along with several dockhands, raced to the scene, but what they found utterly floored them. In lay of the burning or sinking wreckage, the sea was calm and serene, as if nothing untoward had happened at all.
What in the blue blazes? This makes no sense! No sense at all! Salty, am I wrong, or did we not just hear the sound of an explosion?
That we did, matey, but there's no sign of devastation at all. 'Tis most strange indeed, so it is.
Look, I think it's best we make a report and then get back to work. Oh, I don't like this. Not one little bit.
The two engines headed to the harbour master's office, where they made out a report. No private submarines were registered to be in the area, so the harbour master made inquiries to the Royal Navy, but not even they could throw light on the situation, as no submarine was scheduled to be docked at R&D Brendam, even temporarily. The incident was logged as ongoing inquiries and left to rest. Later that night, Harold the helicopter was out on routine patrol over the southern coast. It had been a pretty quiet patrol, and Harold was looking forward to returning back to base and settling down in his nice warm hangar.
I say, spiffy old man, it's cold enough to freeze the balls of a brass monkey, eh, what?
Couldn't agree with you more, Harold, old kite. But 30 more minutes in the air and it's back down to base for us. Night kit in the mess before bashing our chop boys.
Sounds capital, old thing. Just the thing a chap needs to... Hello, what's this then?
Mayday! Mayday! HMS Godred. Torpedoed. Brendam Bay. Going down fast.
Juddering joysticks. Harold the helicopter to HMS Godred. Your mayday received. ETA 5 minutes. Out.
Harold flew to the location as fast as his rotors would rotate, but, to his surprise, when he arrived at the location, there was nothing there. No ship, no lifeboats, not even anyone floating in the water.
What the very deuce? Nothing here. Not even a soul floating in the water.
Perhaps we should try and call them up. See if we got it right, eh, Harold?
Good thinking, old man. Herald the helicopter to HMS Godred. Am at location given, but do not have visual contact. Please confirm location. Over. HMS Godred, this is Herald Helicopter calling. I cannot see you. Please confirm your location. Over. Godred, are you receiving? Over. I don't like it, old fruit. I think we best head back to base and get reinforcements.
Quite agree, Harold. Let's get a jot on.
Harold flew back to base, and soon every air and watercraft at the search and rescue unit's disposal was launched, and the general area of the bay was searched far and wide, but with no results. Again, inquiries were made to the Navy, but the closest vessel they could get a resemblance to was a frigate by the name of HMS Charles Godfrey, which was currently in dry dock at Sharpness in Gloucestershire. Again, another report was filed as ongoing. A couple of nights later, the Royal Navy battleship, the HMS Celestia, was passing off the coast of the island on its way to a rendezvous with the American naval destroyers, the USS Teddy Boston and the USS Liberty off the coast of Maine.
Status report, Mr. Baker.
Wind 25 knots, southwest, visibility good up into a range of 400 and a clear sea. If the weather holds, and we continue at our current rate of knots, we'll rendezvous with Boston and Liberty by 0600.
Excellent. We'll be just in time to invite the captains to breakfast before we kick off with the war games.
Sir, enemy can contact 45 degrees off port bow.
Let's have the stats, seaman.
Range 450 and closing fast, speed 35 knots.
Nothing of visual, sir.
Only one thing it can be. A torpedo. Sound action stations. Have the port 152s brought to bear 47 degrees off the port bow. Fire on my command.
Aye, aye, sir.
Hands to action stations. Hands to action stations. Port 152s to bear 47 degrees off the port bow. Fire upon command.
Range 400, 350, 300.
Still no visual, sir.
250, 200, 150.
Fire!
No good, sir. All shots missed.
Impossible!
100, 50, 40,
It's right on top of us!
30, 20, 10.
Everybody down!
The crew all braced for impact, eyes shut tight, knuckles clenched, but nothing happened.
What happened? It can't have missed. It was right on top of us.
I'm not sure, sir. 1 minute it was on the screen, the next it was gone.
This doesn't make sense. By rights, it should have hit us dead on. I don't know what's going on here, but I think we better send a signal to Pompey. Let Admiralty know what went down here, even if I can't explain it.
A signal was sent as the Celestia carried on its way to its rendezvous. In Whitehall, London, the Admiralty received the signal, and a meeting of senior and important naval officials was called. The next day, a controller in the tower at Sodor International Airport was receiving some rather baffling news.
Stand by Delta Tango 14. I was bringing the Chief Controller up to speed with your issues out.
Something up, Clive?
Bit of a puzzler here, Chief. Got a commercial from New York to London reporting interference on old frequencies.
What kind of interference?
Claims he can hear some fella yelling in German, but can't make contact with the guy.
German? He's positive of that.
He's positive, alright, Chief. Says before she was married, his grandmother went by the surname Doofenschmerz, so he should know German when he hears it.
Well, the system doesn't show any flight scheduled to or from Germany, nor any aircraft owned by a German in the immediate area. Look, what's this German bloke saying? Maybe we can work something out from that.
Pilot of the New Yorker can't be sure. Signal's really disoriented. Best you can make out is what sounds like the identity number of a submarine, the word help and the words British battleship.
Right. Tell him to switch to channel 72 and alter his course 58 degrees northwest. Maybe that'll shake it. Meanwhile, I'll file a report. Could just be kids mucking around with an old CB radio, but if there's supposedly a sub and a battleship involved, I expect the Navy's gonna want to know.
The Navy did indeed want to know, for as soon as the Chief Controller's report was filed, Naval Intelligence immediately brought it to the attention of the same group of officials, who immediately disappeared into a large conference room and did not emerge for some time. A few days later, Edward, Salty and Harold received orders that the Fat Controller wished to see them at Brendam Docks.
"Oh, now, mateys, this be quite the puzzler, ain't it just? Aye, Edward, would ye be having any ideas as to why the Fat Controller be wanting to see us?"
Can't say I do, Salty. All I know is that I was shunting at Wellsworth when the station master came up to me and informed me that Fat Controller wanted to see me here immediately. And so, here I am.
"I think we might be about to find out, chaps. Here comes the Fat Controller's car now."
Good grief! Do my eyes deceive me, gentlemen, or is our controller currently adorned in military uniform?
Your eyes are perfectly fine, Edward. I apologize for the unfamiliar attire, gentlemen. But once my business here is concluded, I am attending the Remembrance Day Parade in Knapford with my family. Incidentally, you might be interested to know that this year, Bridget will be laying a wreath on behalf of the Knapford Royal Air Force Cadets Squadron.
Well, I hope you enjoy it, sir.
As I do, Edward. Incidentally, this uniform also serves another purpose. It has been brought to my attention that strange incidents have been taking place off the Brendam coast, and I am here to provide an explanation on behalf of the Royal Navy and Ministry of Defence.
Ministry of Defence? This is something serious, isn't it, sir?
Indeed, Edward. What I'm about to tell you is highly classified, and, as such, once I've finished telling you all, I'll be handing out copies of the official secret acts for your crews to sign.
Alright, sir. We're ready.
In 1943, there was a battleship stationed at Royal Navy Brendam by the name HMS Godred, named, of course, after our King Godred, HMS. Godred's duties consisted of patrolling the southern coast of Sodor, keeping an eye out for any U-boats trying to intercept convoys bound for the mainland Britain from the United States. Well, one evening in September, HMS Godred came across U-boat Hotel 23, Hotel 23 in English, lying in wait for a US naval convoy bound for Bristol. HMS Godred engaged H-23 in a fierce battle in which they managed to sink it. However, H-23 also managed to deliver HMS Godred a crushing blow with a torpedo straight to the engine room. A distress signal was put out, but by the time reinforcements and rescue could arrive, HMS Godred went down with all hands, as did H-23.
"But I don't understand, sir. If this was a routine battle, why all the secrecy?"
Harold is right. Naval battles between Blightly and Jerry happen off Britain's coast almost daily. I can't see why the War Office would keep this all quiet.
The reason this incident was covered up was because of a certain feature about HMS Godred that Whitehall was determined to keep quiet, and that is that HMS Godred was no ordinary battleship. It was, in fact, the first and only nuclear fission-powered vessel in the Royal Navy at the time.
"Rocketing rotors! If what you're saying is true, sir, then Britain discovered nuclear weaponry 2 years before the Yanks dropped the package on Hiroshima."
If that information became public, it would have driven a wrench between the Allied parties and possibly cost us the war.
I know you can see why the situation is so dire and lies on your discretion. Gentlemen, as far as records state, HMS Godred did enter service with the Navy and did sink, but as far as anyone is sufficiently concerned, it was no different to any other battleship in the fleet.
What will happen now, sir? Do you think the crews of both Godred and H-23 will find peace?
I cannot say for sure, Edward. All that I know is that, as long as man continues to be in disagreement with his fellow, there will be always need for an army, air force, and a navy. Gentlemen, if you be so kind, I ask you to join me in a moment's silence.
Vehicles and crew all fell silent as, drifting on the wind from the direction of Royal Naval Brendam, the mournful tone of a bugler playing the last post was heard. All who knew the true story of HMS Godred kept their promise and signed the Official Secrets Act, vowing never to divulge the information that they'd learnt. Sometimes they still catch a glimpse or a whisper of the two aquatic vessels, but most days Edward and Salty simply sit and watch as the different types of naval vessels pass in and out of the base, and pray that the ship and crew will return safe to port. Harold does the same whenever he is in the air or at Dryall and sees an RAF aircraft. All three vehicles hope that both crews will find peace and, finally, have their armistice. Well, traveller, what a tale that was, eh? Say again, traveller? Yes, in a way, it is like my story about the importance of police officers. You say you might consider a career in the Navy? Ah, then I wish you luck, traveller, and who knows? Maybe the next time I see you, I will meet you as I enter the base, as opposed to exiting it. Ah, the clock doth toll the hour, and summons me back to my work. Stay safe on your journey, traveller, and remember, they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.